The order we're gonna go in is gonna be the order that we watched them, because we didn't go in order because I just wanted to sprinkle it together and not just see the gradual downgrade. I feel like seeing it go down would be more painful than just experiencing it like a shotgun blast. And then Mega Evolved movies are any movies that are truly so good that, putting it frankly, I wouldn't even suggest them as just like two Pokemon fans. I would suggest them to a greater, wider audience just because they're good movies. Alright, so the first movie we watched was actually Kyle's favorite movie. So for him, it was all downhill from the very start. I like this movie. I'm not gonna pretend like I loved it.
It has its flaws, I will admit.
Staircases. Never-ending staircases. I hope you love staircases, because that's where most of the action takes place, is on a fucking staircase. For me, Rise of Darkrai is a B. Where does it fall for you, Kyle?
I give it an A, but I'm kind of biased.
You know what? I can agree to an A. Alright, let's start with the stuff I liked. Shaman in hedgehog form was really cute. When it wasn't speaking. And I wish it didn't speak for the whole movie. Because, why? I totally forgot about Regigigas.
Why is he in this movie? Who knows? But he's the best character in this movie.
And he actually does what Regigigas is known for. I know that sounds like a strange statement, but you gotta understand, they fuck with the legendaries so much in these movies that Regigigas just doing what Regigigas is supposed to do is like, whoa, that's crazy. It's a B, mostly because if you actually just mute every scene where Shaman talks, it's like a 10 to 25% better movie.
I wonder why they gave Arceus the voice that they gave.
Oh, I hate Arceus's English voice acting. It should have been a mature, older voice. It's like a teenager.
You're saying this is the jewel of life?
Well, either way, I think Arceus movie for me is like a low B.
I'll agree with that.
Okay. What was done well? Well,
It sure was a movie where they wanted to do a lot of promotionals.
yes. That is a very true statement. This was also, there's a couple of like, this was our first exposure, but this is also the worst case of a bunch of things that happened throughout all the Pokemon movies. Where in the region that these characters are walking around in is this location? I'm sorry. There's nowhere in Kalos where there's a massive fuck-off desert. And the other fucking problem is everyone in the city somehow perfectly evacuates and there's no one left. And it's completely empty of a city so that the Pokemon can fight.
Even though there was no warning that Hoopa was about to do what Hoopa was about to do.
At least in the other movies, like the Zoroark movie when they do this, they have at least one scene where people are evacuating. We don't even get that. Ash and everyone just run into town. There's lights on in the buildings. The only thing we can assume is Hoopa kills like 3,000 people in this movie.
Personally, I don't like it as much as the Arceus movie.
Well, we could put it below in the same tier. So this is like a B minus. This is like a B plus. Let's start with the good one. That's the first Pokemon movie.
It was good, and I don't understand. Well, okay, I do understand why they cut the certain scenes, but
We watched the uncut version, which included the first 10 minutes showing off what happened to the scientist's daughter and why he was even making a clone of Mewtwo in the first place. I'm not gonna lie, that intro had me literally tearing up. Honestly, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it here. This is, in my eyes, the best out of the bunch. You could legitimately, if you just have a kid and want to show them a good movie, they will get a lot out of this. Maybe don't show them the uncut version. Maybe they're a little young for that.
Try.
But this is just an adult can sit down and enjoy this easily. Honestly, it is the best in my eyes. It might not be your favorite, and that is completely fair. But in my eyes, this is the most well-made. This is like a 10 out of 10. This is easily in like my top 10 movies ever list. I just think it's that good. Alright, the Keldeo movie.
How did it get made?
Yeah, we could debate this all day. Because there's actually another movie that I would put next to this one, which we'll get to much later. The Keldeo movie is horrible. This movie's so fucking boring and so annoying and aggravating, and
Ash is in it for no reason.
he really is. He has no reason. Keldeo has no reason to ask for his help. He has no reason to go with him.
he learns nothing from like neither person learns anything from the other.
No.
Like, why is Kirim also like pretending to be like, oh yeah, I'm your training dummy?
Yeah, he's like a mentor figure. I'm like, Kirim's a weird old, like, half-husk dragon. Who's like barely functioning because the left and right half of it, he's basically a lobotomized dragon. The Keldeo movie was so bad it broke my stream. Yeah, I didn't really care for Lucario's character all that much, although he wasn't bad. He was just sort of Mew wasn't as good as he is in the first movie. You know, this was one of the only times I think we've seen the Reggies in the movies.
It is the only time we've seen the Reggies in the movies,
And
other than
this
the
is how
game.
they're used. They basically walk around and do nothing. That's another thing we haven't touched on yet. All of these movies, with the exception of the first one, have the forced crying scene. Where someone has to almost or actually die, and then not, but everyone has to cry because this is the part of the movie where you cry.
Yeah. It's rare that there's actually like a good one.
I would put this in my personal list at like a B. Where would you put it?
I'd agree, but it's definitely above Hoopa.
Oh, without question. In fact, I would put it above Arceus.
I'll
My
agree.
issues come mostly from a little bit of boredom and not as much from annoyance. Or no, we watched Pokemon 2000, I think. It's hard to remember because I forget Pokemon 2000.
Okay, yet, but it also has one of the most intimidating laser shots in the entire franchise.
That's true. This is certainly not a bad movie. In fact, I wouldn't even put this in A tier. I think S safely. It's still just fun. Even if it's not the best plot-wise, it's a little forgettable. You know, we see the big Lugia thing fire lasers at the 3 bird things, and it's cool because they're firing lasers at each other, and that's just not gonna not be cool.
I can't get over the CGI Genetex floating in a circle.
Mm-hmm. I liked it less than Hoopa, because at least Hoopa had some cool moments during it, but I don't think it's anywhere as bad as Giratina, as Shaman movie.
They didn't really talk as much either.
They weren't as annoying, and I liked that it was a little bit more of a grounded, smaller plot. Alright, Pokemon Movie 3. I'm just gonna spoil it. This is Mega Evolved. Movie fucking slaps. But what really brings it home and bumps it up from S to Mega Evolved is that unforgettable scene of Entei chasing Charizard. If you've seen the movie, you probably remember it. It was awesome. Yeah, a lot of likable characters, just a lot of fun. You could sit down and watch that movie and just have fun with it. Jirachi movie was actually really good.
I love Max movies.
Jirachi was really, really likable, even for a speaking Pokemon. It actually got me a little teared up towards the end where Max had to say goodbye to Jirachi. Because it was very believable. I mean, it's a kid giving up his animal. I have no complaints, honestly. It's S tier. I wouldn't quite put it at Mega Evolved. If you're not a fan of Pokemon, you probably won't get too much out of this movie. I think we watch Black and White next. These movies were so fucking boring. The only reason I would say the Keldeo movie, in my personal opinion, and I think Kyle differs, is slightly, ever so slightly better than Black and White, is that at least I get angry during the Keldeo movie.
It's a bad movie.
It's really bad. There's no reason to watch these 3. There really isn't. If you were to watch all the Pokemon movies, even the Giratina one I'd recommend you watching, really, if it's in D tier or below, just skip it. This movie is pretty good. Deoxys and Rayquaza fighting at the beginning was super awesome. I like that Deoxys isn't a bad guy, but also he's a little bit too much of a good guy. That makes sense. I kind of wish he was more neutral as an alien. And Rayquaza doesn't do much to redeem himself. However, the movie is only good and not great because the last 30 minutes happen. The entire villain being the Sea of Cubes, even having a villain and then having the fake death scene because of the cubes, is trash. I'm sorry. You turn the movie off after the 2 Deoxys make the Aurora Borealis, because I think this movie is A tier. Because as stupid as the cubes are,
if you just ignore them.
If you just ignore them, it's still fun.
I know this is going to be something you disagree with, but I find the chase scene really funny between Diancie and the 3 carbon.
I completely disagree. It frustrates me because it's just them jumping in a line. Low C tier. Worse than the Giratina movie. Almost D. Almost. But I still think it's good enough for you to be able to sit through.
I'll agree with that.
But moving now to a good one, I think actually a pretty high up good one was the Manaphy movie. This one kind of caught me off guard. We went into this thinking it was going to be B tier, and honestly the beginning was a little dull, but once it hits the halfway point, it's just really fun. I think it's S tier. I really do. I think it's low S tier. I don't think it's anywhere near these two. I think it's below it by a significant margin. Zoroark movie. Kind of a surprising one. This movie also has one of the best villains. Because he's just straight evil. There's not even like any redemption. He's just one of the most evil characters to ever appear in Pokemon. He just starts electrocuting a baby.
he also literally strangled the Celebi.
Yes. Oh my god. I think he smacks it too at one point. I think it's better than Darkrai, but not by a lot. Darkrai is way more charming. Darkrai has a charm factor. Celebi was really cute and entertaining, and didn't speak.
And also literally became an Eldritch god at the end.
Yes. And really messed up that pirate. I'd say the villain is kind of out of place. But I like the Team Rocket magazine. You think it's Mega Evolved?
I would say so.
I'll agree. I think it's on the lower end of Mega Evolved. It's not quite there, but I think it checks all the boxes. It really does. It's just a good time. It's just a well-made, entertaining movie.